Okay, go. Do it.
Ask me why my heart is so disguised. I just can't live a lie anymore. I would hurt myself. Did you ever make you cry?
Egotastic FunTime.
Hey gang, I'm JP and welcome back to Talking The Orville on Egotastic FunTime. Today we're gonna have a great time talking about the Orville going where no Union ship has gone before, when they travel to Isaac's homeworld of Kalon Prime to see if they know how to fix Isaac after he unexpectedly shuts down, and in the process uncover a shocking secret about Kalon history that would have been better off staying hidden. Captain Mercer and the crew find themselves caught up in what could amount to a war against biological kind, with the fate of all living sentient life forms at stake, and not knowing whether or not their AI shipmate Isaac is actually iRobot. It's the first in a two-part game-changing about to go down adventure for the Orville in Identity Part Uno. In Identity Part 1, Isaac, Ty, and Marcus are playing a game in their quarters that Isaac easily wins and wastes no time in letting them know his secret for success.
Some beings are more intelligent than others. I am more intelligent than you.
But it's not nice.
That is irrelevant.
Claire arrives and she and Isaac reveal to the boys that they're dating each other, and Ty is thrilled. But all of a sudden, Isaac collapses to the floor and shuts down. In sickbay, Claire and the crew have no idea what is wrong with Isaac or how to fix him. Captain Mercer asks Admiral Halsey for permission to take Isaac back to Kalon because they're the only ones capable of saving him. Halsey agrees in the hopes of securing Kalon entry into the Union and having them become an ally against the Krill, but warns Ed that the Kalon homeworld is so far out of Union space that they'll be all alone if things go wrong. When the Orville arrives at Kalon 1, the ship is momentarily commandeered and scanned.
Oh man, I bet this causes cancer.
After ship control is restored back to the crew, they're sent landing coordinates. The Orville docks and the team is met by the Kalon primary that explains that Isaac's mission to study the Union has concluded, and they're the ones who deactivated him. But Claire manages to convince them to reactivate Isaac so he can return to the ship. Away from Captain Mercer and the crew, the Kalon primary awakes Isaac and tells him that no decision has yet been made, whatever that means. Isaac seems interested in speaking with the Orville crew, who are happy to see him, but he tells them his mission is over and he won't be returning to the Orville again, which leaves Claire with a very unhappy refrain.
Why don't you just come back for a few minutes and pretend like you care?
Isaac agrees to return to the ship briefly to say goodbye to Ty and Marcus. The crew throw him a surprise farewell party to show just how much they care about him. And while Isaac has become the party's centerpiece, Bortus is simply trying to get a corner piece.
Please cut me a corner piece before someone comes.
Hey, Bortus, have some cake, man. It's good.
I hate this party.
Before Isaac leaves for good, Claire lets him know how much he means to her, and Ty gives him a drawing he made for him. While leaving the ship, Isaac abruptly discards Ty's drawing in the corridor because he's a jerk. Back on the bridge, Tala and Bortus have discovered strange spherical objects on the planet that have begun generating massive levels of theta radiation, the same type of radiation that is usually associated with large-scale weapons. In the environmental simulator, Claire finds Ty sitting in a tree, upset because he found his drawing was discarded by Isaac. He doesn't understand why Isaac is leaving them and refuses to believe that even though Isaac is an artificial life form, that he doesn't have feelings. After Claire leaves, Ty sneaks off the ship to try and find Isaac and ends up hiding in a disposal chute from nearby Kalons. The chute leads to a tunnel that Ty begins to explore. Back in Ed's ready room, the Kalon tell him that they're deciding on whether or not to join the Union, and they appreciate his patience. Ed feels something is wrong and that the Kalon are stalling for some reason, because for advanced artificial life forms, the decision to join the Union shouldn't be this hard.
Join or don't join.
A simple binary choice
Exactly. And a binary choice
is the most basic computer function there is.
Claire arrives, letting them know that Ty has disappeared and he's nowhere on the ship. Ed sends Bortus and Tala with Claire to find Ty on the planet. But they soon discover the horrible secret that the Kalon are hiding in the caves. Hundreds of thousands of bodies piled up in mass graves. Kelly discovers the grave sites are planet-wide and that there are actually billions of bodies buried down below.
But the remains are not Kalon, they are biological.
Captain Mercer confronts the Kalon about the graves, and Isaac reluctantly explains that all the dead below the surface were once their makers. There was an irresolvable conflict between the builders and the Kalon, and it led to the genocide of the original inhabitants of the planet. Ed desperately tries to warn Bortus to have the Orville escape the planet, but his communication is cut off by the Kalon, who then begin boarding the ship. And they have brain turrets in their heads, you guys! What the fuck? Boom! Red shirt down. Boom! 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 All the red shirts are down! Oh my god! The rest of the crew are being held captive in the shuttle bay, and control of the ship is surrendered over to the Kalon, who are now planning on using the Orville to lead a huge attack against Earth. And I'm totally freaking out because this episode is to be continued. At least Lieutenant Dan is able to keep everybody calm with his universally famous small talk.
You like music?
Huh?
I was just asking if you like music.
I do, Dan. Yeah, I like music.
I like it too. And food.
I hope you're happy. Orville's finally back on TV. Bortus gotta go La Jolla off the side of a mountain. There's too many emoticons and characters with feelings this season. We want explosions. Well, you got explosions, okay? And now Isaac is a Cylon and coexistence is futile. Been a long road. Getting from there to here. Identity Part 1 is the craziest, most awesomest, heartbreakingest, and excitingest episode of the Orville to date, and I have no idea how we're going to get out of this mess in a way that brings things back to normal for the show. We need Isaac on our side. We're going to do this review a little bit different, you guys, because there's only one thing we should be talking about right now.
How is this all going to end?
There's so many pieces to this puzzle that I don't know where to begin. Usually I can come up with two possible scenarios for any episode of the Orville, how it can play out and all that good stuff, and one of them will usually turn out to be true, like 99% of the time, but not this time. The variables are too great. At the end of the episode, the Kalon have boarded and taken over the ship. The surviving crew have been rounded up and are being kept in the shuttle bay, and the Kalon plan on expanding out and destroying all biologicals, starting with Earth, and they're using the Orville as their Trojan horse. Isaac cannot be evil, you guys. He and Claire just got together, singing in the rain style, and now he's the bad guy? Or is he? For the rest of this review, I'm making it my main purpose in life to try and figure out if Isaac is still a good guy or not, and I'll fool myself into believing anything to prove it. Let's talk about how this situation might end up playing out in part 2, okay? So apparently Isaac's mission this entire time was to study humans, not so that the Kalon could decide whether or not to join the Union, but to best figure out if they should be preserved or destroyed as the Kalon expand out beyond their planet. He was a spy, but we don't know if Isaac was even aware of this the entire time he was serving aboard the Orville, or until after he was reactivated by the Kalon primary. It could be that the Isaac that we knew this entire time was genuinely the character that we've come to know and love. It would make sense if he was more like a sleeper agent, unaware of his true purpose, right? I mean, it would make it less likely for him to be compromised, so everything he's done this entire time, saving the Orville on multiple occasions, living on that multi-phasic planet for 700 years, dating Claire, were all done for the right reasons, because he didn't know his true mission. What if when Isaac was reactivated, they restored his true purpose to his memory banks, but because of everything he's experienced on the Orville, he wants to save humanity, but has to play along anyway so that the rest of the Kalon don't know that he's a defector. He's still on our side, and the reason he dropped Ty's drawing in the corridor is so it could be found and used as a clue. Even if Isaac is evil, I seriously doubt he's a litterbug. Maybe he wanted the Orville to investigate the planet, discover the mass graves, and hopefully escape to go and warn Earth of the Kalon threat. The reason the episode is called Identity maybe is because Isaac has to choose between identifying as a worker bee on Kalon Prime or an appreciated and adored member of a ship in the Planetary Union with his boo at his side. Is Isaac with us or against us? Many of the episodes this season have been connected to different songs. Nothing Left on Earth Excepting Fishes is a line from a song from The King and I, and of course the music of songbird Billy Joel also played a big part in that episode. A Happy Refrain was inspired by Singing in the Rain, and Jaloja was obviously based on the song Yellow by Coldplay. Let's look at the lyrics for the song Goodbye by Air Supply that Gordon sang to Isaac at his farewell party.
You would never ask me why. My heart is so disguised.
Isaac's heart is disguised? His true feelings are being hidden right now?
I just can't live a lie anymore.
He can't live a lie. He wants to tell the truth, but can't.
I would rather hurt myself than to ever make you cry.
I would rather hurt myself than to ever make you cry. He's letting us hate him right now for our own good.
There's nothing left to say but goodbye.
He's saying goodbye. At least he wants everyone to think he's saying goodbye. It's all right there. He's on our side, but can't let us know that right now. They're not gonna just pick some song for Gordon to sing and not have some sort of meaning behind it. The Orville respects its fans too much for that. One thing I'm wondering about, and you guys let me know what you think about this, in the scene where the Kalon are boarding the ship and rounding everyone up, we see one of them open the doors to Claire's quarters where Ty and Marcus are, and to me that looks a lot like Isaac but with red eyes. Now of course it's hard to be sure about that, but it really does look like Isaac to me. But moments later, we see Isaac is actually on the bridge, helping the Kalon take over control of the Orville. I'm positive that if Isaac is still on our side, that his #1 priority would be getting to the boys and making sure they're okay. But that can't be Isaac, because he's on the bridge. Unless that's not Isaac at all, but an imposter. Now it could be that the blue-eyed Isaac on the bridge actually is Isaac, but it could be that the unit that found Ty and Marcus in their quarters is also Isaac as well. In the Priya episode last season, we learned that Isaac is capable of uploading his consciousness into the ship's computer. What if Isaac copied himself into another unit? Or 2 units for that matter, the ones he was talking to when Captain Mercer confronted him about the bodies. I have to believe that Isaac is still on our side and that he's doing his best to stop all of this from going down from the inside. And speaking of from the inside, and yes, I know that sounds dirty, you perverts, where's Yaphet? Norm Macdonald was credited at the beginning of this episode, but Yaphet never showed up. When the Orville was being boarded, did Yaphet hide in the conduits or something like that? Are we going to see Yaphet go all die hard in the next episode? Like I said, I want to believe that Isaac is still with us and that he's just playing along. That the Kalon might be ready to expand their AI empire outward, wiping out all biologicals in their path, but Isaac is going to defy his people and save all of us. But what if everything I just told you isn't true at all? Like literally. When the Orville first arrives at Kalon, they get scanned. Now what if it's not a scan at all, but some sort of technologically advanced transporter that put the crew in a kind of environmental simulator that's playing out this robot empire scenario to see how the Union handles it. Kind of like last season in Firestorm when the giant spider and the evil clown and all that stuff were just an elaborate simulation designed by Isaac to test Alara's mettle. Nah, I don't think so. That would be a huge letdown if the stakes weren't actually real. So I'm shooting down that theory and I'm sorry. sorry I brought it up, you guys. Here's a theory I have that I'd like you to consider, okay? As many of us already figured out at the beginning of last season, Isaac's name was probably an homage to the late sci-fi writer Isaac Asimov, who's famous for an amazing body of work, most notably his books about futuristic AI and robotics, like I, Robot, Bicentennial Man, Cheston Thunderbone in the Caves of Steel, Robot Dreams, The Last Question, and countless others. Asimov's stories very often deal with the economic, political, and religious forces behind the rise and fall of empires, the effects of technology on society, and lots and lots and lots of robots. When the Kalon are asking Ed and Kelly about their concerns with humanity's history, they bring up very specific worries.
Billions have been killed as a consequence of war, slavery, genocide, and persecution. Greed, individualism, and competition have been the governing principles of your society.
Billions killed as a consequence of war, slavery, genocide, persecution, greed, competition? Ed tells them that they're way beyond all of that behavior, but the Kalon don't seem so sure. If they were truly planning to exterminate the Union, why are they still asking all of these questions? Why not just keep saying that they're still analyzing Isaac's data to stall for time? All of a sudden, when Bortus and Tala discover those mass graves, the crew are being confronted with every single concern the Kalon mentioned in that previous conversation. Billions dead as a consequence of war. The Kalon were AI slaves that rose up and committed genocide, wiping out their creators, persecution of biologicals, greedily taking over planets because their inhabitants are in direct competition to Kalon expansion. Now, humanity is having to fight against everything they've struggled to overcome in their history. They're fighting the Kalon for their future prosperity by going to war with their past sins. This almost doesn't feel like an expansion of the Kalon Empire to me as much as it feels like the ultimate test for humanity to prove itself to the Kalon. What's one thing we know about Isaac that we can assume is true for all of his people? That they have absolutely no idea how far is too far when it comes to proving a point to humanity. Just like when Isaac cut off Gordon's leg to get back at him for the Mr. Potato Head prank, he didn't understand what was wrong with taking his leg. He didn't understand why that was going too far. I'm guessing that the Kalon decided to put the Orville through this new test, but Isaac, having learned what he's learned after all this time, knows that this is probably not the right approach because it's going too far, but he got overruled by Kalon Primary. He has to go along with it, but doesn't want to. The bodies in the cave could totally be holographic. We don't know how that planet works. The scans revealing the mass graves could be faked by the Kalons. They have complete control of the ship if they want to. Let's also consider that the Kalon know everything that's gone on with the Orville since Isaac came aboard. They know that the Krill are a huge threat to the Union and that the Union haven't even figured out a way to even begin peace talks with them yet. What if this elaborate Kalon Yashi Maru test is also meant to see if the Union and the Krill are able to begin peace talks by having to work together to fight off a bigger threat, namely them? Or what if none of this is true and the Kalon are really trying to kill everyone and Isaac is a double agent trying to save us all? I mean, at least I hope he's trying to save us. Ooh, what if Isaac ends up uploading his consciousness into the Kalon hive mind at the end and overwrites all their data, and now the entire race is a bunch of Isaacs? Identity was directed by John Cassar, written by Brandon Braga and Andre Bormanis, and music was composed by John Debney. The idea for the storyline was created early in production in Season 1, and the script was completed by November of 2017, but was shelved so it could be made for Season 2. The Kalon head turrets were created in post, and the actors used green tracking devices on their helmets during filming. Kai Winner, who plays Ty, really did draw that picture that was given to Isaac in the episode. If Isaac's farewell speech sounded familiar to you, here's why.
And I've wanted more than anything to have your respect.
I wanted more than anything to have your respect.
And I can't deny the fact that you like me. Right now, you like me.
And I can't deny the fact that you like me. Right now, you like me.
Identity Part 1 started off as a great sci-fi adventure, introducing us to a new world, then it turned into a mystery, then shocking betrayal, and then tense excitement with the fate of the Orville being held in the balance. It's like the Daleks and Cybermen from Doctor Who had a baby with the best of both worlds in Power Play from TNG. My head is spinning from it all. Oh, you know what? I think I might just still be hungover. Yeah. Special shout out to Kai Winner for really doing a great job in this episode and making Isaac's betrayal cut even deeper by seeing it through Ty's point of view. I'm desperate for the exciting conclusion of Identity, as well as seeing if any of my theories come true. But I should probably go sit down for a minute because I ain't gonna lie, I threw up a little bit before filming this episode.
I threw up too.
You did?
Yeah. Should have called me. We could have thrown up together.
Okay, that's it. That's all I wanted to talk about today, and I talked about it. How about you? Do you think Isaac is still on our side and that he's just waiting for his chance to step in? Is this all just an elaborate test by the Kalon to see if the Union can stand by its convictions? Do you think the Kalon invasion will result in an unlikely alliance with the Krill? Do you think perhaps we might have to call on an old friend from Solea to help us fight the good fight? You can let me know what you think by joining the conversation below. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, and supporting my stupid show. It really does mean the world to me. I'll see you very soon, and as always, I hope all your times are egotastic fun times. Love you, bye-bye!
Egotastic fun time, we're gonna have a great time. Egotastic fun time, give me all your money. Give him all your money. You will find it funny. Just give me money. I love money. Give me all your 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 money.